What's happening?
Time for songs.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Let the games begin.
Hello and welcome to Velen's Chosen Episode 2. We're here to buff your game, and do you need a blessing? Joining me today is Evemartyn.
Hello.
And Andrew Brown.
What up?
All right, this week we have a very intriguing show for you, especially since we're not encountering any technical difficulties today. Am I right?
Now
None
you
are
just
gonna happen.
Totally psyched this out. I'm gonna drop any second now.
Yeah, Eve's just going to drop the mic at the top of the show just to show she can.
Don't curse it.
Okay, so today we're going to be giving you a brief overview of a lot of stuff. We've got an email from someone that we're going to be addressing their question. We're going to talk about individual topics, and we're going to talk about we got our first email.
I'm
Believe it or
excited.
not.
That's
I'm going to read it on
awesome.
the show because I knew that you guys didn't check it out, so I put it as a really small thing in the show notes.
Oh, you got it past us.
Got him,
You're
coach.
sneaky, Rob. You're sneaky.
Sneaky Rob is sneaky. Okay. Also, if we have time, this week I have a short little blurb that I was watching before the show about the excellency behind CSGO's game design and some other things that I think we could talk about on Hearthstone.
Cool.
And how that relates. So, first things first, we're going to do our co-host topic. So each of us kind of come to the show and talk about a specific topic. And then we'll have one main topic that we'll talk about after that, and then we'll do a quick meta update. All right, and then right after that, we'll do emails, and then we'll close out the show. So, Eve, why don't you kick us off with what you've been doing this week?
Well, I thought I would try and ladder up with something that was a little more reliable. So I went with mid-range hunter, and I found out that everybody else had the same idea as me.
Oh no.
Whoa.
Because from rank, what did I start out at? 14 to 10? Mainly up against other mid-range hunters.
Okay.
Some
Did you track your
variation
results?
of exactly what I was playing. So I was coming up against a few paladin, a few warrior, very few rogue, priest, and warlock.
What kind
not
of warrior
very
did
many
you
at
face?
all. Control warrior, actually. I didn't see the patron. I was a little
Did
scared
you see the dragons?
when I first saw them, and then they started armoring up like crazy, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is not the one I'm scared of."
Well, there's an armor, like there's the control armor warrior, and then there's also the variant that's dragon warrior.
I didn't see any dragons. So
Okay, so no Alex Strauss' champion. Okay.
I did pretty well against them.
I've been playing that.
Yeah, Hunter does pretty
That's
well
what I've been
against them.
playing.
I will tell you what I got wrecked with, though, and I only saw two of them. Shaman's
Okay.
neck.
Mech shamans.
Oh.
Whoa.
So aggressive.
The Mecha Man.
Yeah, just huge, and there was nothing I could do against them. So I'm glad I only saw two of them.
For those players that are not understanding some of the decks that we're talking about, if you Google them, you'll find them. But I think the basic is mech is the archetype that was really established in GVG if you're a newer player. And the mech lists, at least as of late, there's also a mech mage that's also at the top. These mech lists will not just run mechs, but their staple cards are mech warpers, fell reavers, and some synergistic cards like what's the Tink guy?
Tinkmaster.
No, not Tinkmaster, Overspark.
Tinkertown Technician. That's
Tinkertown Technician, yeah. That's
Tinkertown Technician, or the Power Mace for Shaman. So
I mean, pretty much most of the neutral mechs are going to be there. But
Spider Tank.
Yeah, mech decks are always trying to just rush as fast as they can, get something strong out every turn that synergizes with each other, and
yeah, they
get out of
generally
control.
work really well, and then you add their totems to it, which can heal them, buff them up, and
or the Flame Tongue totems they drop on a Fell
Yes.
Reaver and then they hit you for 11 is pretty scary.
Yeah.
not to mention they've got the only one Wind Fury mech, which is going to wreck your face
Yeah.
if you don't deal with it.
Absolutely. And then they had a Doom Hammer. So I was just like, yeah,
Hello.
Yeah, Doomhammer Rockbiter will slam you.
that That did happen to my face.
Nice.
But mostly hunter. Variations.
Okay, so what is the
on...
hunter list that you're talking about?
Well, there's one that I started out with because I was interested in trying Beast Hunter with the couple new Beast cards that we got. Ram Wrangler actually turns out to be pretty good for me. I know some people...
That's a pretty cool card.
Yeah, I know some people only put one in their deck because it's not...
RNG's thing.
Yes. But for me, like, I got King Crush out of it. I got...
Ooh.
What is that? The Druid Legendary?
Malorn.
Out of it. And sometimes, like, when I was coming up against a deck and I was like, I don't have a taunt. I just really need a taunt. And I cross my fingers and throw out Ram Wrangler.
King of Beasts.
And pray for... Yes, I did get King of Beasts. So it can really be that really lucky thing that can turn the game around for you. So I put
or
two
you could
in
get
my
Captain's
deck.
Parrot.
Yes.
You know what? I haven't gotten that yet. So I guess I've been pretty lucky. What else? Bear Trap from the new...
yeah, Bear Trap
cards.
has some good synergy with the Ram Wrangler, indeed.
It
Because
just...
basically they'll play around it. They'll hit you with their biggest minion last or something,
Mhm.
and it'll smork you with it and take a bunch of damage, and then they have the taunt, and then they turn over to your turn, and you're like, haha, Ram Wrangler, King Crush, suckle. Something like that. Or you get lucky if you're running like a more of a mid-range list that actually runs arcane shots. I think that every mid-range hunter that runs a Ram Wrangler could run arcane shot because of that off chance you get Gazrilla, you can just wreck face.
Oh, I did get Gazrilla, but it was too late. It was too late.
He does have to last a turn, though, in order for that to work.
Unless you run Tundra Rhinos.
Tundra Rhino.
Or if your Ram Wrangler gets a Tundra Rhino and then your second Ram Wrangler gets a guy. Now we're talking just dreams. So.
Oh,
well, that's
man.
just crazy.
If I ever
Who
get
does
the
that?
dream,
Web spinners for days.
I will let you know.
That's right. Get it.
Yeah,
Okay, so
and
you
I
keep
just
going.
like the fact that now that we've got Bear Trap, there's one more secret that they don't know which one it is, and it makes them think a little bit longer when they're playing against you. They don't know whether you've got Freezing Trap, or I actually run the Snake Trap as well because I want to make sure I have more beasts for Ram Wrangler to
for wrangling.
Go off of.
Wrangle them snakes.
And Houndmaster too, to buff up and get a taunt if you need it, and yeah. So.
Oh man.
And I just run Dr. Room, because there's sometimes when you're kind of getting wrecked by the aggros and you want to fill up your board, and I put out Dr.
I'm just going to throw the most annoying card in the game at you, please. There you go.
And Flare. The one that I looked up has Kazan Mystic in there, but I was like, you know what? I would rather put a Flare in there. I don't want to steal one of their secrets. I want to just destroy them all. And it works against...
So, do you run a Buzzard in this deck? At least one? Because I've seen some pretty insane Buzzard turns. Like, Billy was telling me the logic behind this was, like, if you can play Buzzard, and I can't remember what he said. He said if you can get 2 minions out of it, or 2 cards drawn out of it, it's worth it.
Well, I sometimes get them out of my web spinners, and sometimes randomly get them out of Ram Wrangler. But yeah, that's just like, that's great if it happens, but not. I think.
So do you run out of steam with this deck? What do you find is the weakness of the deck you play?
Basically, only if someone's faster than me. Like if I come up against an aggro that's even faster than I am, and I just can't handle all the minions that they put out and all the damage that they put out. Other than that, like anything that I can.
Do you feel like the bear traps help you with that?
Yeah. Anything that I can slow down and kind of get within my range, I deal with really well. I got up to rank 10 with it, so I'm at rank 10 right now.
Wow, that's further than I've got. I got to rank 14, but I've been doing other stuff.
Mid-range Hunter is one of those decks that's, I think, always going to be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's done so well for so long, and with TGT, they just had a couple cards that really fit in there well, but they're really helpful tools to just stabilize your game even more, I think.
You could even throw in a single lock and load to just have some extra sustain for those control matchups. And that could be your tech card in control. Because if I remember correctly, Eve, you run 2 of the Hunter's Marks, don't you? And you also run 2 of the... Okay, so just 1?
Yeah.
Do you run Arcane Shots?
No.
Or Power Shots?
No. So the only thing that it would
kill
trigger
commands.
off of would
kill commands.
be, kill commands and...
Unleash the Hounds?
Unleash
the Hounds.
Animal Companion.
Oh yeah, you know what? I keep forgetting that these are all spells because they give you creatures. So I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I think that's
spells.
what people were not understanding about how awesome Lock and Load was, even just for a mid-range list.
Well,
it's
when
like,
you think of
half your
Animal
arsenal
Companion
spells.
and Unleash the Hounds, you think minions, right? So
yeah, but that's 4 cards.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's good.
And I also found out recently from Andres that he's been running a Lock and Load Hunter list that is mid-range, and it is very strong. I have his deck list somewhere in the nethers that I'll have to find again, but he runs 2 Lock and Loads, and they stack if you draw them in the same turn. So if you play Lock and Load into Lock and Load, you draw a card, and then if you play another spell, like let's say you play Lock and Load, Arcane Shot, that's 3 spells that you get, or 3 Hunter cards that you get.
I don't think I'm ever going to feel good about playing Lock and Load into Lock and Load, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you want 2 separate, runs of it.
There is a few occasions where it's okay, which is when you have a lot of cheaper spells. So if you have like Hunter's Mark and an Arcane Shot, double Lock and Load, and maybe 1 3-cost spell, it's actually pretty worth it. Because you literally filled your whole hand in 1 turn.
I'm only going to feel good if I get a Lock and Load from my Lock and Load.
There
lock
you
and
go.
Load.
That works.
That's the
I've
only
not
way
actually
it's going
seen
to
that
work.
happen yet. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I think you would have to weaken your deck quite a bit to make that work. So I'm a little bit concerned about how that would turn out. But I totally agree with Andrew. It's one of these decks that just sort of is middle of the road, and it's never really changed. It's always been pretty reliable and pretty good. You're just like, I'm going to warn you, you're going to have to work a bit harder. It's not one of those that you're just going to get the win streaks and you're just going to race to the top. It's just one of those that it's pretty reliable against almost every matchup. And it's kind of like a grinder mage. Yeah.
It's like a tier 2 grinder mage. It's got a good high win percentage, but it's not going to give you like a high chance that you're going to be rolling in to win rates or win streaks like you were saying. That's perfect description, yeah.
And it's got those cards like Web Spinner and Ram Wrangler that give you that you could get something really awesome out of it.
Yeah, you can close out games just because of RNG.
Yeah, which is fun. I like having those cards like the Mage's Portal card, which all of a sudden you can get something crazy out of it, like Deathwing.
Or Paletris. Getting Paletris on a Mage Portal is ridiculous.
Yikes.
Turn 7 Paletris, basically.
Mech Mage I went up against yesterday got Tyrion Fordring out of a portal. And I was just like,
wow.
Concede.
What? No, you know what? I ended up owling it and winning anyway. But at the time, I was just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, I know, right?
Especially
when you can't, like... Portal's one of those cards where it just really sucks up a lot of your tools because the RNG factor, everyone's always trying to play around cards, right? You can't play around Unstable Portal.
No.
Like, you're just like, okay, so I'm going to wait until they drop Antonidas and owl it. And that's my 1 of or my 2 of owl. Like, I silence Antonidas or I go in and silence Ronin. And those are my 2 mage cards that I'm trying to, silence if I go to late game as a, control hunter or mid-range hunter. And then they drop Tyrion, you're like, okay, I'm going to go into this corner over here and cry, and then I'll come back next turn.
Yes. That's when I start just spamming the sorry emote, because I'm like, sorry, I got nothing against an Unstable Portal Forging. I'm really sorry. I'm legitimately apologetic to you about this problem you're having.
And then they say, I'm sorry back to you, and fireball you in the face because they're a freeze mage.
I gotta say though, like one of these episodes we're gonna have to talk about DMing and why you should never do it.
Oh,
I've got okay.
Anyway, okay, so just to close off my topic, I started playing around with it a little bit, and it started being more of a beast hunter than it was a mid-range hunter. So I've got 2 copies right now that I kind of switch between the 2 when I want to change it up. And my other one has a lot more beasts in it, and it's really fun.
Yeah, that Houndmaster synergy can sometimes just screw somebody's day up, and they burn a silence on it, and then you drop a high main, and they're like, well, crap.
Yeah, it's got Stampeding Kodo, King's LA.
Oh, that card is so good after TGT.
And especially
Stampeding
against
Kodo just wrecks mini-bots.
Little decks. 2 snake traps. And what's the other one?
Man, 2 snake traps is
Yeah.
a bit insane, don't you
Well,
think?
if you get off the Juggalo snake trap dream, that works pretty well. Doesn't work well against other hunters because then they just unleash the hounds and say thank you, thank you 3 times before running into
I hunt alone. No, you don't. You got 3 snakes.
But when you have a bigger board than Secret Paladin, it feels good.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, bring it on.
All right, so I'm going to actually jump into my topic before Andrew, because Andrew has a very extensive / meta report topic that he wants to cover. What I have done is I actually went on and realized how many cards that I have in my collection, because I am a pay-to-win player, as it were. I'm going to pull up my collection right now. I actually have a spreadsheet for how many cards that I have missing, as well as I have an actually extensive list of every class rare and every regular rare. Those are separate spreadsheets. Class epics, neutral epics, those are separate spreadsheets, and then legendaries.
Wow.
So
impressive.
I actually did, and then I have another list of what cards like that you have left in your collection if you were to have 2 of. So just some random stats for you guys. I think it would be helpful to understand as a new player or someone trying to figure out how many cards that you want to get and how many are in each collection. If you were to have 2 of every card in the classic set, there are 457 cards. 459, I believe, if you count the 2 legendaries that are promotional, which is Galvin Mechatork and ETC, or Elitarn Chieftain.
The golden versions?
Yes, but you can still craft them in normal. Okay, so regardless, there's 457 cards in Classic to get the Classic Collection achievement, all right? 33 of those are legendary. And another thing that I'll say real quick is this is if you have a very complete collection. That doesn't mean that there's 457 total cards. That means that there's 457 cards if you were to have 2 of every common, every rare, every epic, and 1 of every legendary. That's 457 cards.
So the max possible without
card collection.
Or like you can put deck in decks, basically.
Okay. And then out of those 457 cards, I have 16 that I'm missing.
Dang.
And out of that 16, 4 of them are legendary.
Wow.
So that means I'm missing like 2 of Bestial Wrath and like I was gonna say Millhouse, but I just got him recently. Laurel
That's
Okercho.
a key component.
Laurel Okercho and like Mukla and stuff like that. In GVG, there are 224 total cards and 20 legendaries. Okay. Again, when I say 20 legendaries, you got to remember legendaries are different rules. Those are all one-ofs.
Right.
Okay. And if you count the cards that I'm missing in GVG, I'm missing 10 cards.
Jeez.
And 7 out of the 10 are legendary, which kind of sucks. And then in TGT, this is, I think, is a really helpful topic, so I wanted to cover this. In TGT, they already announced how many cards that there were. It was like 128 or something like that. But if you count the total, right, of 2 of everything except for legendaries, and then 1 of all the legendaries is 244. So TGT is actually a larger expansion than GVG.
Wow, okay.
And out of all of the TGT cards, I'm missing 40 cards. So I'm significantly missing more in this set.
Because it's newer, probably.
Because it's newer, correct. And then out of the 40 cards that I'm missing, 11 of them are legendary.
Okay.
And believe it or not, most of the legendaries I'm missing are class. I have 4 neutral legendaries I'm missing. And there's actually 10 neutral legendaries. And then there's 10 class ones because Hunter got 2.
Right.
Okay. So that being said, I realized that I couldn't really help out our free-to-play people with everything that I believe that you guys could. So what I actually did, and I told Eve this, and she was shocked, and then I told Andrew, and he was equally as shocked, was that I made an EU free-to-play only account this week.
All right, so you don't just represent the 1%.
Yeah, well, not the 1%. There's a lot of people that are sitting at the ranks that I'm sitting at with lots of money dumped in, and my friend Jeffrey, Shout out to Ventigo. He's kind of in the same boat. Buys a lot of cards, doesn't play much, plays super casual, never hits past rank 10 max. Mm-hmm. So cards do not equal wins. People, time commitment and meta analysis and playing the game and not just watching streams get you ranks.
It's good here. Good for our listeners.
Okay, so let me tell you a couple of my goals. I was actually doing this on hard mode because not only do new players have the barriers to entry that I described as far as card collection are concerned, but they also lack a lot of the basic knowledge of trading and how cards work and what cards synergize with another and understanding the total card collection, right? Because not only do you have to understand the cards that you have and the cards that you're playing and the deck that you're playing, but you have to understand almost, half of the cards that are out there so that you understand which ones are tech, which ones are useless, which ones are other people playing, and which ones are even bad in your deck and good in other people's. So the restrictions I have are as follows. My goals are to do all of these things without crafting a single card. So 0 crafting. I've only done disenchanting because of cards that I know, like Mogre's Champion and No Missions Experimenter that I've disenchanted that were rares that are garbage. So reach rank 20. I was able to reach rank 20 in 8 games on an 8-game win streak.
Wow.
There you go.
And that was as soon as I hit level 10 on a Paladin. I just went into ranked and went boom, 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 8 games.
So would you say
every
that
single player,
Paladin
didn't
would
lose a
be
game.
the good class to start with?
I think if you start after I've been playing, I've got, I think, 3 or 4 of the classes to rank 10 really quickly. And believe it or not, smorking as a rogue really is pretty tough depending on the matchup. But if you have a good matchup, you can really get out of control as a rogue.
Please explain to our listeners what smorking means.
Okay, smorking means you're literally dropping. It's kind of like you're a dumb orc and you don't know what you're doing. And so you smork in my language is smashing as an orc. Smork. Put the 2 words
I like
together.
that.
So you smash people in the face because orcs are dumb and they have a high bloodlust, so they need to go after people in the face and kill them, and they don't really care about anything else. They have tunnel vision as far as minions are concerned.
And if you don't know what it is, go watch some Twitch.
Yeah, go watch Twitch. People love that word.
Yeah.
Okay, so reaching rank 20 was one of my goals, and I did that very quickly. Like I said, 8-game win streak, pretty easy to do. Classes that you should try initially should be Warlock, Rogue, Mage, and the Paladin list that I've been playing. Now, I did get lucky with my Rogue that I think actually played a lot into how I've been able to smork. In my first so many packs, I was able to pull 2 SI7 agents, which are rares.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
huge.
That's huge.
Which is massive. Like, that is a absolutely critical card to be playing Rogue.
I think I ended up crafting those because I had no luck getting them out of packs, and I wanted to play
Another
Rogue.
big lucky factor, I would say, is I actually pulled 2 Ironbeak Owls, which are commons. And that has been everything. And then if you imagine this, right? If you're trying to hit somebody in the face as many times as possible, and having only your, like, no Tinker's Sharp Sword oils, which give you that combo that you can get a crap ton of damage, and no Blade Flurries, which give you even more damage output. And those are rares or GVG commons that are tough to get.
Yeah, if you're a free-to-play player, though, you're going to be able to get all those commons, right?
Eventually, but I don't, like, after talking with Vincent, I don't think I'm going to be crafting any common cards unless I absolutely need them to, like, finish the deck.
Right, but even if you just play an average amount of arena, you're going to get all those commons eventually.
Right. So I'll try to keep this shorter because I didn't want this to be really long. But basically, with the Paladin list, or with the Rogue list that I was able to do, was I ran 2 Saps and 2 Owls.
So just get stuff out of your way. Get rid of taunts,
and it gets everything out of the way. Like, they drop Ascension Shieldmaster, which is like one of the best single classic cards that has no rarity for anyone. And you're just like, get that out of my face. And even if they drop a Sunwalker that's a rare that has 4/5 with taunt for 6 drop, sapping that
And
or
a
owling
bubble.
that is just crushing. Because you just wasted 6 mana and you're like, I dealt with that for 2 mana. It's like,
You say, get out of my face.
yeah, you get it out of your face, and then you drop a Salcy Deckhand and you're hitting somebody with a poison blade for 5 damage, and then you have room for more. And if you're lucky like I was, and I got on an Oiltron, I just drop one of those and keep going.
There you go.
And then you can drop 2 Cold Bloods if you have those. Cold Bloods are commons in the classic set, so I only have 1 of those right now. But Cold Bloods are awesome. All right, so that's the rogue list. The other goals that I had was to defeat all of the normal AIs of the Innkeeper, and then all of the expert ones. Okay.
Nice.
And then in turn, if you beat all of the normal AI, actually, if you beat 8 out of 9 of the normal AI on any class from level 1, you will get to level 10. I promise you. If you beat them, you have to win. If you lose, it will take you twice as long, which is not that bad, right? That's instead of 8 games, that's 16 games or less. So maximum games played will be 16. It's very particular too. I even game tested this. If you farm, let's say I'm playing Paladin versus Paladin Mirror on the normal AI, it took me forever to farm it. I would get the same amount of points after I'd beaten him than what I would lose. So if you beat something twice, you get the same amount of XP as if you lost and won. So you need to change the AIs each time. Give you experience, okay? And then the expert AIs, I just got my head down and I wanted to level up the Paladin to level 20 so that I could play Tavern Brawl the first week. Those are my other 2 goals, is to get level 20 on one class so I can unlock Tavern Brawl and then try to beat it before week 1 closes on Monday. So I have 3 days left. I have today, tomorrow, and Sunday.
That's good, because that's just a free. You got to get every free pack that you can. So
right,
Tavern
and the
Brawl
reason I wanted to push really hard for level 20 and get into Tavern Brawl is because Tavern Brawl is really hard for new players, especially people that don't have knacks.
Unless they give you decks. The ones where they give you decks are a little
exactly. And Blizzard's done a great job at rotating those back and forth. Mm-hmm. So anyways, those are my main goals. And then the other one is complete all daily quests without missing one for at least a week. And I've been really good about that.
Good.
So, and I've only been doing this since like Tuesday and sit down. So basically I have Rogue, Mage, and Paladin for sure at level 10. And then I have rank 20. I beat all the expert AIs with my Paladin. I've not crafted a single card. I went on an 8-game win streak and I went 3-3 in Arena.
That's great.
And I've opened 1 TGT pack and I think 2 or 3 GVG packs and like 4 to 6 classic packs. So just to give you an idea. And the reason I was able to open so many packs this early on is because of completing hidden quests that you didn't necessarily know about, or going out into your collection and dusting 1 card for 95 dust for the first time you dust something.
They give you a pack for the first time you dust something?
No, they give you 95 dust the first time you dust something.
Oh. They
also give you 3 packs and a card back for doing a Samsung thing, which I actually was able to do with an emulator called Geny Motion, Geny Motion. And I did a couple things for free and was able just to log in on my account, get 3 classic packs for that. I also got a classic pack for logging on my Android phone. I also got another one for logging in on my iPad. So really, I got 5 packs for free.
What you're doing, Rob, is trying to make the most out of the little investment that you make into it. Yeah, and as a free-to-play player, you have to do that. I mean,
you got to maximize that.
Yeah, if you don't care that much about your collection and you just want to play for fun every now and then, that's fine. But if you do want to improve, you want to grow your collection, you've got to do every daily quest. You've got to get every free pack you can. You've got to find those promotions. So, so that's really great that you're having that experience. Yeah,
the only thing I have not been able to do yet has been the Android tablet and the iPhone, because I used to have an iPhone, but I don't anymore. My mother has one, and I might try to download the game if she has enough space and do it, but I'm not too interested in that. I feel like it's a better experience for our listeners if I only get 3 of the promotions than all of them, because that actually shows that I'm trying to experience this as if I was you.
Well, they can do it too.
Well, that's true, but like,
you're not doing anything no one.
I don't think that everyone that's a single player is going to be able to have access to an iPhone, an Android tablet, an iPad, and a S6 Edge.
Well, sure, but if you want to, I mean, you can go to the Apple Store and log into a phone on there. Anyone can do that.
Well, that's sort of true. You have to be able to have the game on an Apple store, and that doesn't happen. Like,
yeah, you have
can't
to
just stuff
download
in the Apple Store.
Hearthstone to their.
Oh, you can't do that.
phone.
Okay.
They would probably. Be
Yeah,
like,
so not everyone will have access. The thing I kind of cheated on was the getting around the system for the S6 Edge. That's the only thing, is getting 3 packs out of that. But 3 packs in retrospect isn't a whole lot. So
Gotcha.
But anyways, I think that's everything from me. I'm going to try to get all of my classes to rank 10, rank 20, and then Tavern Brawl for next week. I'll report back to you guys and do that. So that is also a big reason why I've only hit rank 14 currently.
That's going to be like a big amount
EU.
of information of how tough it is to start over basically from the beginning. I think that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And I have a good friend that did this a while ago, and he's been helping and coaching me. And I think your biggest thing is actually finding a mini community that you get a part of. That's something that even I have really gotten into with some people. That's how we met with all of our friends in Hearthstone, basically.
The meetups, yeah.
The meetups, right, on Wednesdays. Now they're doing them on Mondays and Wednesdays, and coaching once a month on a Tuesday. And I would like to run something, but I don't think that we can do that right now with our listener base. But
we should definitely pimp that. Where can you find the TAC Hangout on Reddit?
Okay, so the TAC is another podcast that most people, if not everyone, is already aware of. It's the #1 Hearthstone podcast in the Apple Store. It's called The Angry Chicken, or TAC.
They're great.
They are fantastic. And that's a mini community where we came out of, and we decided to run our own. And Garrett gave me a little plug on their Patreon comments section for their 100th episode, so I was pretty pumped. And then
I heard that.
But anyways, the TAC has a subreddit board because they're popular enough. So if you go to reddit.com, REDDIT, and then you go under your URL and you just type /R, that's basically a sub-thread. And then you do / after the R. So it's reddit.com/r/, and then you type TAC podcast. And then you can create an account and subscribe to that board, and you can go down there, and Brian Kelly or Lord Meldor will post something about TAC Hangouts or something like that weekly. And they have one that Brian will run on Wednesdays and another one that Andres will run on Mondays. And those are guys that did another podcast called Hearthaholics. And they are currently, I think, around their 30th episodes or something like that.
Yeah, so much information. And then you can meet people to play with, which is super fun. And we learn a lot every time we go to the Hangouts. I'm still learning so much about the game.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go...
a lot of friends in Hearthstone.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now we're going to turn it over to Andrew, who has a very extensive topic for us today.
Yeah. So I've got just how to choose a deck. I don't know about you guys. Sometimes, it's when I've lost 6 games in a row and I've changed decks 20 times and I've tried every deck online and I just keep on losing. I always get to a point where I got to blow off some steam, go do something else, but then when I come back and I'm ready to go, it's like, okay, now what the heck am I supposed to do? And so I just put together some things for what I do when I'm lost and not sure how to pick a deck to take to the ladder. Again, pick myself up on my bootstraps and get out there and do my best, So the first thing that I always have to remind myself is that this game is all about having fun, right? It is by nature a game, exactly. So the first question I've always got to actually think about is, what do you want to play? What do I want to play? Because honestly, at first I'm just thinking meta and what's really effective right now, and should I do and I've always got to take myself back a little bit and say, okay, what sounds fun to play right now? Do I want to see if I can get a 10 attack weapon as a warrior? Do I want to see if I can get 15 spell damage on the board for mage? What actually sounds like it would be fun?
So let me interject real quick. We're going to talk about this in the main topic a little bit, but this is all about setting goals in Hearthstone, right? So goal setting is, because it's a fun game, what do you want to do? Right? That's what Andrew's saying. What do you want to play? What do you want to do in this game? That question could be anything.
Absolutely.
It could be what's fun. This could be what's strong, right? So some people do not have fun in a game unless they're playing something that's strong. If you go talk to Karma, Karma doesn't care what she wants to play. there's 5 deck lists that are
How
top
about you
tier.
don't
She's
care?
like, which one's the best one? That's the one I'm going to play. And sometimes there isn't really a best one, but the best ones are the ones that are against, the decks that you're playing against, just like Andrew's saying. So continue, but that's where we're going.
Yeah. Well, the correct answer for what do you want to play is whatever your answer is.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do that. The second question I'll ask, I'll get a base from that. Like, okay, I'm really feeling warrior right now, or something like that. So the second question you do want to ask is what's effective on the ladder, because unless you really love playing random decks on the ladder, you probably want to win. And in order to win, you need to have something that is going to be strong against the competition. So Tempo Storm is a Hearthstone team, and they do a great job putting out a meta report every single week that says what's strong and what's not strong in the field of play in ranked play overall. So you can check that out every week at tempostorm.com and see what the top tier decks are. So I think this week it was like Secret Pally and Patron Warrior, and Aggro Pally was up again.
Mech
What the
Mage.
fourth one was. Mech Mage. Okay, great. So you can go and see those 4, and so I was thinking Warrior. Okay, well, Patron Warrior is really strong right now. Maybe I can go jump in and do that. That might be a good way to go. The other thing that you want to ask though is what counters those decks, because whereas us, plebeian everyman Hearthstone players might think, oh, I'm gonna do the strongest deck on there. What the professional players are thinking is, if those are most popular, I want to play something that counters.
Play something that
those
destroys
most
that meta, which in turn develops a new meta.
Yes, it
And
does.
that's the vicious circle. That's why there's new
change.
metas each week, and not why they're doing the meta reports at all. But they're doing the meta reports not for new players to copy them, but they're playing them so that, or producing them so that new players can say, this is what's popular. How do I adjust accordingly? That's the right response to the meta report, not copy and paste Arena.
Well, you can do that. You can also do that. If you want to play the decks and you don't know how to make your own, you can go on the meta report and go, get a copy, paste, make that and run, see how it plays. And the best way to learn a deck is to play it. Like, if you also want to play against it, playing it is a good way to really learn the ins and out of it as well. So do not feel bad if you go to the meta decks and copy them and play them.
Yeah,
nothing wrong. I think
that's a good point.
And I would definitely agree with the fact that you should be familiar with how those decks play so that you can counter them. You can't counter Patron Warrior unless you've played it and know what the strong plays each turn are that they're looking for. So if there's something on there you're unfamiliar with, definitely try it out and understand it as best you can.
Yeah, the counter.
Those are some of the thoughts.
Sorry, the counter argument to what Eve was saying is that kind of what I was saying, but like I agree with Eve. You should get on these deck lists. You should make them or try to make them with your collection allows. Play them, try to get a grasp on them, and then go back to playing whatever you want, which is either that deck or another one. The problem with necessarily following the meta report every week is that sometimes, like this last week where we had Secret Paladin, the entire Secret Paladin name means something totally different this week than what it meant last week. Last week it was aggro. This week it's like mid-range control. And that's one danger. The second danger is that if you're seeing these meta reports and you're playing a deck and rotating a deck every week, I would say you're laddering, not necessarily the most effectiveness. I think that you should be playing what you're comfortable playing so that you can know it. For instance, people hit Legend when they finally lock down, 1 or 2 or 3 decks. They're like, these are what I'm going to play. I'll check out the meta report. If one of these is the stronger ones, I'll be playing that more. And then if it's not, then I'll be teching that deck or another one of my decks to be against that. So
it's definitely good to have more than one deck in your back pocket at any given time.
Right. So
for
like
me,
Dragon
I felt
Warrior,
like
Dragon Priest.
I didn't even know of Secret Paladin until I found it on the meta report. And I thought, I want to try this out. I'm going to make it and see how it works. And it felt fun. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. So I discovered a new deck that I really liked. And then I teched with it a bit. The things that I didn't like about it that felt kind of clunky, I would like take in some other cards and throw out some other cards. Or maybe I didn't have all of them. So you can mess with it a bit yourself as you get to learn about it a bit more.
And that leads perfectly into my last point, which is when you're trying to figure out which deck to play, also think about if there's a specific card that has just been burning on your mind. There's every now and then that I'll see a card in play, or maybe I'll see a Twitch streamer playing it or something, and I'll think I got to figure out how to make that card work. Like for me, Tuskar Jouster, I got played against. That's the 5 cost, 5/5. You joust, and if you win, you gain
7 HP.
What is it? 7 HP. And that's a paladin card. So I was played against that, and all I had to play against it was a Sludge Belcher. But I was like, he's going to be able to take it out. It's such a strong card. And so it was really burning on my mind. Like, I want to figure out how to get Tuskar Jouster into my paladin deck. So if there are any of those cards that are... Go ahead.
No, that's okay. You can finish your thought, and then I'll say something if you haven't covered
it. If there's a card that's just been burning on your mind, and it fits within, obviously the Patron Warrior I was talking about, you're probably not going to fit that Paladin card in there unless you want to put Grand Crusader in there and hope that you get it.
Ooh.
But I mean,
that card's
that's the
so
ultimate
good in
tech
Arena.
is a random Paladin card. Oh yeah, it's great.
I drafted that twice in a row.
Oh, that's smart.
I think for me, that's what Ram Wrangler was. I saw that card and I was like, I want to make that work. I want to put it in a beast deck.
This goes back to our goals, right?
Yep.
How you want to play the game,
which we can jump right into.
Well, let me cover this real quick with the Tuskar Jouster. This is exactly what I was talking about playing a deck list and sticking with it, right? Or making some of the cards in that deck list work. Tuskar Jouster is the epitome of this card, right? If you do not know what cards are in your deck, you do not know if Tuskar Jouster is going to be a good draw, a bad draw, or a good play, or a bad play. So sometimes you draw it too early, and the RNG factor of the Joust is really evident. But think about this. If I'm playing against Face Hunter, what's the highest cost card in there? Maybe Leroy Jenkins, 1 card out of 30. And then you have to take that 1 card out of 30 probability and diminish that. So this is knowing your opponent, right? Knowing your enemy, that 1 card out of 30 is actually not the statistical value. 1/30th is not your statistic. It is however many creatures are in there. So the statistic actually goes up. But at the same time, it goes up for your probability astronomically because you're running a mid-range list. So he may have, let's be generous. I think about 20 minions in a hunter deck, and then maybe in the mid-range paladin that's probably close to 20 as well, but maybe closer to 15. So your probability goes up just by the sheer number of minions. And then you got to think about how densely populated your 3-drop, 4-drop, 5-drop, 6-drop, 7-drop, 8-drop is compared to his 1s, 2s, 3s, right? So Face Hunter doesn't have anything that runs over 3. So if you've drawn all of your early game and maybe you have 1 mini-bot still in the deck, and then you have Tyrion, and you're like, wow, I think there's only 3 minions left in my deck. If I play this card, I have a 66% chance to win this joust. This is a good card right now. So that's how you know how to work the card. But you don't know how to work the card until joust cards are really hard to play right now because people don't know how to play their own decks because they're either copying them or they're trying them out, and there's so many new cards. And then on top of that, there's a whole nother arsenal of other people's cards that you also don't know. So people are playing completely different decks, like Beast Druid. You're like, well, crap, I don't know what beast they have in there. I can't predict accurately what they have in that deck, and then I can only predict what I have. So the Joust cards are more about knowing both decks than just knowing yours. And then a little bit of RNG thrown in there for good measure. But like if you think about Paladin and you're playing a control Paladin list, Tuskar Jouster is one of the best cards you can throw in there. That's almost a free 7 heal once you've drawn all your early game. Like if you run 2 zombie chows, 2 mini bots, and you've already drawn them all and you play Tuskar Jouster, you're like, yo, I got an over 50% chance I'm going to win this joust.
Yeah.
So anyways, we can go back to setting goals.
Jousting right there.
What's that?
That is a theory behind jousting right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I've been thinking a lot about game design lately, believe it or not.
I can tell.
I've also really gotten into the statistics of Hearthstone, probably more so than anything as of late. So
it's pretty evident. That's amazing. I generally don't think of cards that way, but it's a new way to look at it for sure.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people can really learn the game. And that's something I haven't put into the goals that I just totally forgot to put in there. So I might even actually put it in there. I'll just put in the last one as being basically like learning the statistics of gameplay. Right? So I actually learned before we get into goals, last topic, I'll cover this very quickly. Patron Warrior is a warrior deck that actually is called Patron Warrior, even though it should be called Frothing Berserker because that's your main win condition. But
it is now.
It is now. And then some people are still teching around with throwing, Grommash in and out of that deck depending on your play style, and your card collection for that matter. So that deck, and then there's an old GVG deck that's sort of seeing a little bit of play now that people are realizing the Buccaneer is an insanely good card. But Oil Rogue also did this. So Oil Rogue is basically a modified Miracle Rogue, and these names just come out of basically the miracle condition of the deck is you draw through all the deck and hopefully you draw a miracle scenario where you draw this spell into this spell into this spell, and then you can actually drop everything all at once and burst them down from 25 to 0. And that's how Oil Rogue works. The only reason they call it Oil is because it's sort of miracle, but the main win condition is Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil, which is a GVG common card that is give your weapon plus 4, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And then combo, give a minion, a random friendly minion plus 4 also. So the dream is having that on like an empty board, and then you can I think you basically play. You have a dagger up.
Hero power.
Yeah, you have a dagger up, or you hero power into the dagger. You play a South Sea deckhand. You play either any number of this scenario. I think the biggest dream is basically playing South Sea deckhand into poison into.
Can I pull us back for a minute?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd be really interested to know what Andrew is coming up against on ladder right now, because last time I saw you, you were up at rank 7.
Oh yeah.
Or have you?
Mm-hmm.
Are you still up there?
I dropped down to 8 last night, sadly enough. But yeah,
because I have a feeling that what you're facing is completely different from what I'm facing.
Yeah, it's been actually a lot more around. Or all over the board this week, and I'm not sure if that's due to rank or due to just the meta changing that frequently.
I think it's probably both.
We're in a funky place.
Probably both.
I've noticed a lot of handlock and zoolock up around rank 10, and so a lot of people are just trying to. Handlock is just really effective against the Secret Paladin because you just create a wall, and then you don't have to kill the opponent's, silver hand recruits because they're dead against.
Is the handlock list running any new TGT cards?
Not really.
Because I haven't seen a handlock list that ran any new TGT cards.
I mean, at first everyone was thinking Frost Giant would work in there, but that's
a terrible card.
Really wasn't true.
Yeah.
I'm looking through. Yeah, I don't see anything. I mean, I heard somebody talking about Fearsome Doomguard just because you can't BGH it.
That's more of a demon handlock. That's a slighter variation.
Demon lock.
Yeah, but I think for on the whole, it's remained unchanged.
Okay.
So that's the deck list that
I got on after you told me that.
Like from where you are to where I am, I'm only like a couple ranks below you, and it's such a big difference because I see no warlock where I am. Just solid hunter.
What are you seeing?
Like hunter more than anything else, and then after that mage. And then after that, not Patron Warrior, the other one. Control Warrior.
I did see a lot of Control Warrior also, I will say.
Dude, my Dragon Warrior deck list is insane.
That's kind of a good thing to know, because then once you kind of push through that level and get into the next level, whatever deck you're running might either not be viable anymore, or you might just kind of have to wrap your head around playing it differently, because now
throwing in new cards.
Maybe tech in some things that would be helpful against handlock.
Sure, I'm trying to think, because there is some other deck variant that I was actually a lot of druid actually.
This is the ramp, not the fast druid, right?
Right.
So this is the slow ramp.
A combo. Well, I would say it's mostly combo. Sorry, combo mid range. I haven't seen the ones that are running a lot of Ancient of Wars.
Okay.
Sunwalkers,
so this is
stuff like that. It's been mostly just those Sarnasis aspirants are so good.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if they even last for one turn, you get an extra mana, and it's so worth it.
And they're amazing. Like you can't silence those and get a good effect out of it. It's like you don't want to silence that card. Yeah. They've already done their damage when they're played.
Then they're not going to lose. Actually, you know what? It would be good if they silenced their own minion, because then they wouldn't lose it when it died.
Yep. Except for you only run 2 silences and they're 4 mana, so it's kind of like, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rob, I was interested because I did see a lot of Freeze Mage earlier in the week, but I have not seen any the past few days. Yeah. So
I don't think
it was like so much Freeze Mage.
From rank 14 to 10, I did not run into a single Druid. So it's amazing that after you hit around, I guess, 7 and 8, you're seeing a lot more. That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freeze
so
Mage
they're really slowing down then. Is that what it feels like up at the higher levels? It's like slow, heavy, late game decks?
I would say it's half and half. I mean, it's unfortunately it's not the kind of thing where you can definitely play one thing and you're going to be fine.
It's not stabilized yet.
Because I would say there's just as much to do as there is hand lock, and you play against those two decks so differently, So I've been running a mid-range Secret Pally that's been really consistent, pretty good. I'm hitting another wall right now at the rank 8 to 7, but hopefully I can press through that.
I'm just hoping to get to rank 10.
I think I'm going to play a lot more. Oh, there you go. Come on. You can make it.
So
I think I'm going to play a lot more Warrior coming up because I'm just about 25 wins away from my golden portrait, which is too tempting to
I'm not even close to 100 wins on any class.
Control Warrior? What do you think?
Come on. What was that, Eve? Sorry.
Patron Warrior or Control Warrior?
I can't figure out Patron Warrior, honestly, so forget that. But I was playing a Dragon Warrior just like Rob, and it's a lot of fun.
It's so good, but it's horrible against handlock. It's so bad against handlock.
Yeah.
That's your worst match.
And it doesn't something that's fun but not as reliable?
Well, it doesn't do the typical building up a lot of armor.
Unless you tech in a Justicar.
Control Warrior does. Well, yeah, which I do have, but even then I've got 1 Justicar and 1 Armor Smith. And then 1 Bash. So I guess that, those are all.
Oh, see, I put 2 Armor Smiths in. That's way better.
Okay.
2 Armor Smiths, 1 Cruel, 1 Execute.
I think mine's just a little bit more aggressive. So it's a matter of if you want to come on stronger from the beginning, or if you want to, save it until the end. But I did find a list from Ponyhoff. You guys know him? He's a funny European.
Never heard
he's so funny. He's a European streamer. He's really, really good. He hits legend every year, and he came out with an Inspire Warrior deck, which is really interesting.
I did hear that reference.
It sounds fun.
It's like a typical Control Warrior, except it takes out some key cards and it throws in a Nexus Champion Sarad.
Does it have a Cavaldi Raider?
2 Kodo Riders.
That sounds fun.
Oh, I have seen this. It's called the Kodo Rider. Yeah. I don't have either.
It's the 2 Kodo Riders, and and it throws in a Maiden of the Lake and a Garrison Commander and a Justicar, obviously. So I haven't played with it yet, but it looks too much fun to not try out. And he's been having a ton of success with it.
Everything you're saying just sounds fun.
Yeah.
It's basically a glorified stall Inspire Warrior. But you could
that's fair.
You could even pull off an insane Sarad, oh snap, I just got a Pyroblast, he's dead.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's not many cards that are going to be completely ineffective. You're going to get something out of pretty much any spell that you get.
Oh yeah.
It could be something as amazing as a Pyroblast, or even you get a deadly poison off of it. And now my Fiery War Axe is a 6 attack, 2 durability
right?
weapon.
Because you do have a weapon, so there's not really that many.
Imagine getting that on a Death Bite for 7. That's ridiculous.
I'm trying to think of anything that would just be off. I guess a Sacrificial Pact. That's probably the worst thing you could get.
That's really good against handlock,
or Sense Demons. Yeah, that's
depending
true,
on what your matchup is. Yeah, that could actually be good.
So it's a lot of fun, and it seems really effective. So I think I'm going to try that out this week.
Speaking of, I think that I heard rumors that they're actually going to change that. They're actually going to take away the ability for Sacrificial Pact to destroy Jiraxis.
Yeah, I heard that.
Because they had so many uproars about that card ever since Domo was released. Because Domo abides by a completely different rule set, and there's no way to interact with it. And there's no way for you to interact with Jiraxis when he's on the board versus when he's there. It's so if it says hero, I can hit Jaraxxus with Sinister Strike, but if it says target a demon, like demon is a minion archetype, and I can hit it as a minion, even though it's a hero. Like, that doesn't make any sense gameplay-wise.
I don't know. I mean, that was such a neat thing that you could kill Jaraxxus with.
Yeah, it actually made Nefarian a really amazing card.
I just thought it was so awesome. So Blizzard has actually been talking about changing that?
There's been some internal discussion on Twitter about it. Or external discussion on Twitter that they said they're looking into changing it. Which could mean anything.
I'm just looking at consistency, because they have to keep the game consistent.
It's card text
and that's
consistency.
a card that isn't.
So explain to me, what was the inconsistency? I don't understand with Major Domo.
Well, Major Domo has some other weird stuff going on where if you, like, okay, so because of the hero taking over ability, Jaraxxus also has a second bug, I think. This is, like, completely obscure stuff, right? So Domo's a neutral, but if you get a mage that gets Jaraxxus out of a portal and you have an ice block down, ice block is destroyed when Ragnaros takes over your picture. But if you put Jaraxxus out, you still have the ice block.
Oh, okay.
And
so
there's that inconsistency. And then there's another inconsistency where you can destroy Jaraxxus on the board and as a hero, even though it says demon minion, or demon, which in essence means minion. And you can destroy a hero with a 0-cost spell. So they said that means that they're going to do some change to the card, but they don't know what that means yet. They could change the card text and then actually the value of Sacrificial Pact. Like, it could be a 1 or 2 mana card and give you a bigger heal or something like that.
I think they'll just make it destroy a demon minion. I think it's really that simple.
I think it really is too, but I don't know what they're going to do with it. And it's not that big of a deal in my opinion either way, because it's like not a card that people are consistently running unless they're playing, Dreadsteed Warlock.
Okay.
It's not an OP card.
I'd be sad if that changes, but I can see for the consistency why they would want to do that.
So I have to ask this question to both of you. Although you've said which decks you say, I'm seeing a lot in these ranks, or I'm seeing a lot of these this week, are you actually documenting your games or having a Hearth tracker that tells you these are how many decks? Because there's a lot of times where I'm like, man, I'm facing so much Dragon Priest. But in reality, I've only faced Dragon Priest like a total of 6 times across 4 different decks.
Well, this is what I did. I have this piece of paper next to me, and I wrote down Hunter, Mage, Shaman, Warlock, Priest, Rogue, Paladin, Warrior, and then I just check. Each time I face one, I put a little mark down. So I can actually visually see I've got 15 Hunters here versus 2 Warlock. That doesn't keep track of if I won or lost against them. So I do have to install the Hearth tracker, I think is that what it's called? And then that'll probably...
There's like 4 or 5 of them now.
Yeah, one of those anyway, so I get a better idea. But right now, that's how I did it just to prepare for the podcast.
Okay, I'm going to post this in our personal chat so you guys can click on it and check it out. But this is a spreadsheet that I've developed that I can create a new spreadsheet version of this each month and just do seasons breakdown.
Cool.
Okay.
So what I've done between this last month and this month, there's a big difference, is obviously changing the names of the decks that I'm facing. And I added a column for the coin.
Whether or not you have the coin, yeah.
Yep, and then I added a miscellaneous column for random stuff that I've not seen in the meta. And then I actually put the deck list on the side of the current deck list. Now, remember, I can change this deck list whenever I want. So if you go over to if you go to Dragon Priest and Dragon Warrior, you'll see at the very bottom there's an algorithm for calculating the sum total of games, the sum total of wins, and then calculating the win percentage. All right. So I've actually played 25 total games as Dragon Priest and won 13 of them, giving me a 52% win rate overall.
Wow.
But then if you look up, you'll see which of the decks I face the most. So 3 Face Hunter, 1 Lock and Load, 1 Ramp Druid, 1 Flood Pally, 2 Secrets, 1 Midrange Pally, 3 Dragon Priest, 3 Control Shaman, 1 Handlock, 1 Control, 1 Patron, and then 6 Miscellaneous, which was because I started playing this deck at rank 19 or something like that. And so I played a lot of miscellaneous decks on those low ranks. So what you actually are seeing is not just the total and the total win rate, but the total win rate is great. Like, that's a good overall. But you can also see which are your good matchups if you have a good enough amount of games, and which are your bad ones. So control shaman in my Dragon Priest, I'm 0-3. And my mirror matchup against Dragon Priest is pretty good. It's a 67% win rate. I win 2 out of 3. Now again, this gets more accurate the more games you play.
Yeah, I think it's something that's a really good tool. Hearthstats or some other program like that is a really good tool for new players, because a lot of times you feel like, I just keep losing, and then it can actually show you, no, you were winning almost as much as you were losing. It just doesn't feel like it because you don't progress the way the ladder is with the losing stars and winning stars, and you feel like I'm just treading water and never making progress. But it can give you a better look at how well you're doing and maybe encourage you a bit.
Yeah. So I think that Hearth Tracker is a great way to transition into creating your own spreadsheets. But I think that the Hearth Trackers and stuff as of late are not good enough for people that are... If
that's your thing. Like, I'm not going to make my own spreadsheet. And I know that. So if there's something I can download and it'll do all the work for me and I can look at it, then that's fine. That's as far as I'm going to go.
Right. If you want to...
My biggest problem is that
Go ahead.
I'm playing 90% of my games on my phone.
Yeah.
So I don't have something to write down, so often. So as much as I'd love to run something like this, it's just not my style of play. So I kind of have to keep a mental note of what's going on.
Yeah.
That's why I had the piece of paper, because I was in bed playing on my phone and I just check down whenever I was against a hunter or a mage. And
see, I just have it open in a separate tab. Like I have a Google sheet open and then I tab out and put a number in. I say, okay, once I figured out what deck this is, I tab out into it and I say, okay, I'm playing Face Hunter and I got the coin. So I mental note that, and when the game's over, I'll put in the game as a game played and then enter that topic, and I'll put the coin or not the coin. And then if I want, I'll put a number, and everything updates automatically.
Yeah, I'm sure there are people that analytical way of looking at the game is super helpful for them, and that's something they totally would want to use. But there's also as many people like me who are just like, that's too much.
Yeah, I can see you. And like Hearth Tracker is good. Like it's not bad, but I feel like it's subpar to what you can accomplish with this, because the Hearth Tracker stops the buck at which class you're playing. It doesn't have the ability to analyze what type of that is. So mine's
right
a
now
little bit more
it's in
niche.
so much flux that it's really hard even to tell what you're up against sometimes. Like with the hunters, I didn't even know. Like they started out Face Hunter and then they had a Dr. Boom in there, so it's like I don't even know what I would write this down as.
Yeah. So some of that is true, but like when the meta becomes more refined and this total list becomes even thinner, you're like, okay, now this is great, because then I'm going into this. And I've been doing this only because on the 28th, TAC is doing a seasonal tournament that I'm going to be participating in, and I want to see what's popular on the ladder, and then I also want to see which deck matchups that I have that are good, and then I can go in and start teching decks accordingly.
So you have a goal in mind.
That's good.
That you were planning for and progressing towards. That's
the other thing that I really like about this is it's really color coded too. So even if I'm alt tabbing into this, it's really easy. I'm looking for purple for my warlock, and then it helps me see. I don't know. I just really like doing this because it helps me know, man, I've lost to Handlock once. Now I can even remember these decks, and I'm like, man, I remember losing to Handlock really bad. My worst matchup is Handlock, and in reality, you go to the stats, the hard and fast, right? I lost to Handlock once, and I only played them once. And it's like, okay, so this is okay. I know this is a really bad loss, and it's really memorable. But in reality, I look at my Face Hunter and Mid-Range Hunter, and I am played 5 games against them, and I've lost 1. Like, I am wrecking hunters with this list. So what am I going to do now that I know that you guys are playing off against a lot of hunter? I'm going to play Dragon Warrior because it's good.
Yes, absolutely. Lots and lots of hunter where I'm at, more than anything else.
So anyways, that's how I use this.
Hybrid. Lots of.
You mentioned goals, so let's talk about it. What
Reach
are your
legend.
goals?
That's right.
Someday I will be legend.
Reach legend.
That's my goal.
What are some different kinds of goals that you have set or goals that you want to set?
I'd like to get a couple legendaries that I don't have so that I can play more decks, because there are some decks out there right now that you just straight up can't play unless you have certain legendaries. I tried to make Beast Druid this week, and I could not because I don't have the combo. And
you don't have
straight up you
epic
can't
cards.
Yeah. So like I just mean that there are certain cards that you do need to run certain decks. There are some that you can't tech in a replacement. It's just it's not what it is unless you have those cards.
Yeah, we're gonna do a good main topic on what are tech cards, what are cards that you can't replace even if they're legendary. Like there are times when that happens, and that's a topic that I would want to cover in another episode.
I don't have Tyrion Fordring. I don't have Sylvanas. I don't have Ysera. I don't have Ragnaros. Like these are a lot of really strong, powerful cards that people put into their decks to make them legend decks.
Yeah.
Like capable of reaching legend even more than they were before. So that's something I need to make a goal for.
Yep. So let's try to broaden out your goal here. How we would categorize that, right? So your specific goal is, I want to make this deck, right? I want to play that deck. You don't even have, I want to win with this deck or anything. I want to play that. I want to try that. So in trying something, that means you need specific cards that you have to craft. So this is actually a crafting and a playing goal. This is not a winning goal, right? The category is, I want to play this. And in order to do that, my first play goal is actually a craft goal. I need to craft these cards. That's my main goal. Right? And you can have multiple goals going on at the same time, but you have barriers to entry goals as it were, right? To enter the goal that you want to have. Mm-hmm. So that's one category. What's some categories that you have, Andrew?
I want to get 12 wins in Arena.
Okay, that's a big,
real simple.
So how do you achieve that, right? I think
you do it. You just do it.
Just do it.
Do you use that website where you
Arena?
I do track on that because when I'm playing Arena, it's a lot more like I can't just pull out my phone and do a quick game. I need to take some time.
Yeah,
so
I track all.
I've always got Hearth Arena to track that.
Especially since I'm trying to analyze it for the podcast, I'm even saying and setting notes on the description, like, these are the cards that I'm getting out of my EU ones. This arena run sucked because I'm bad, or this arena sucked because the cards that I got were bad. And the last 2 arena runs that I had were 3 wins and 2 wins, which is sucky because if you go back average. 4 arenas, I got 9 wins.
Don't kick yourself too much. That's pretty average. Like that's better than that is better than average.
I'm trying to average 5 wins. That's my big thing, is I want to average 5 wins in arena.
Do they have all the new TGT cards in Hearth Arena already?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
That guy's a genius.
You're on top of it.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like we're running a little bit long.
Okay.
Right now, so I think we might have to save some of what we're talking about for next podcast.
Yeah, we're running a little over an hour, which we want to try to make sure that everyone has time for other podcasts. And
yeah. So was there anything that everyone wanted to really get in last remarks for this one?
Actually, I don't think we have time for that if we want to get to our email from Jamie.
Right.
Yeah, let's do the email.
All right. So your friend and ours, Jamie S., sent us the following email. The topic line, speaking cash to casual. Hi guys. Nice. Great first episode. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Just wanted to get a topic for you guys to discuss that comes in the form of me trying to get my brother into Hearthstone. He plans to not pay any money into it, and I've tried to get him to play and have fun with it. So far, he feels the idea of Hearthstone is amazing or great, but the climb to get all the cards and the collection is just too daunting. Are there any helpful tips to help me teach my brother how to play without the expensive card pool that I own? So far, his favor has been toward Mage. So I think his favorite has been towards Mage, which in my opinion is great for starting. Okay. But I'm having a lot of issues and trouble moving him to other classes in order to help him learn the basics of what other decks do. Again, great podcast, guys, and I think I'll keep on listening. Jamie S. Thanks, Jamie, for your email.
Well, we hope you do keep on listening.
I think my advice would be not to kind of push them too much. Because it seems like he's already interested. He already likes the idea of Hearthstone. He's already got a favorite class. So to try and go and to expose him to everything Hearthstone too quickly might actually push him off and be like, no, but you need to look at this, and this is also cool, and this is also cool. Might just be like, it sounds like he's already interested. He already likes it. So let him find what he likes about it. And I would say go slow and enjoy it at whatever level you're at. What I did with my son when I wanted to teach him how to play Hearthstone was get him to watch the Trump teachings.
Those are great.
Those are good.
Those are really good for new players because there are some solid concepts in there that you would not know right away. Like, especially with Mage, who has a lot of spells, the tendency of new players is to go face a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got a 6 damage spell. I should do that right to their face.
Or I should play Arcane Missiles on first turn.
Yeah, exactly. It costs 1. I have 1 mana. Use
That's
it.
3 damage.
Exactly. So those Trump teachings are amazing for new players. And just don't push them too hard. I know you're super excited about the game, and you like it, and love playing it, and you know all these nuances about it, and you want him to explore everything, but just let him go at his own pace. Don't push him.
And one of the cool things is that if he just plays, whether it's casual, ranked, whatever, he's going to run into other classes. And all of a sudden, he's going to see Paladin play Muster for Battle and think, whoa, that's really cool. I want to get that card. I want to play Paladin.
Yeah.
Eventually, he's going to break out of that. But for now, let him feel really, really comfortable with one class. And eventually, he's going to say, I got to try some of this other stuff out.
Yeah.
But that's up to him. As long as he's having fun, then it's going to be great.
Yeah.
To actually go back to our goals discussion, I think the best thing you can do is actually help them identify what their goals are. You've actually given me 2 of his goals, right? My goal is to not spend a nickel on this. That's a big goal. That means that's going to limit you with what you can help with.
Blizzard's favorite kind of player.
Yeah, exactly. The other kind of goal that I'm seeing in here is I want to play Mage. And I want him, and then your personal goal that you can tell him is I want you to understand other classes, right? But I think understanding classes can either be boring or it can be organic. Organic meaning that card is amazing, I'm going to play that deck. Or I just got wrecked by this deck and that was awesome, I want to try that instead of what I'm playing. Those are organic reasons. Boring reasons would be you need to sit in your collection manager or on Reddit or on Hearthstone and just read through every single card in the game. That sucks, dude. Especially with how many card pools there are. Like, we just told you how many cards are in the game if you have 2 ofs. That's like almost 1,000 cards. Actually, I think it is almost exactly 1,000 cards. It's like 460, 240, and 220. So, but the total number of cards, like 1 ofs, is like half that. So...
And I think him being comfortable with one class is more important right now. That's a
especially
really good
early
thing.
on as a free-to-play player. Those are good goals to actually already have.
Because it's really daunting to get out there and start playing against other people. I actually would stay playing against the Innkeeper for a while. That's probably a good start.
That's what I've been doing.
And the adventures, if he decides to get any of the adventures.
Yep.
Is also a good way to get lots of really good cards.
Yep. The best way to get people to branch out is to help them identify what are the most valuable cards in crafting early on. What are the most valuable quests to complete, which is what I was talking about earlier. You actually get like 300 gold for getting level 10 on every class. So if you just go in and you play 9 times 8 is however many games you need to play to get all the classes. If you just play against regular Innkeeper, right?
Is that 300 per class or after you've gotten all the classes?
300 total.
Okay.
And then if you get 1 class to level 10, you get another 100. And if you get to level 20, you can play Tavern Brawl.
Yeah.
And if you get to rank 20, you get a golden card at the end of the season and a card back. So those are other goals. What was the other thing that was in there?
Play Arena, because then you're not playing with your own card pool. You're playing with all of the cards, so you get to see a lot of cards you don't own and get to play with them and see how they work.
I think Arena's cool, but it's also really frustrating if you don't know how to play it. I actually would tend to get people to not play Arena as a new player unless you have somebody
good with matching you up, though, with people who are the same level as you in Arena. I actually played my son's Arena account when he just started, and I got up to 11 wins, because I feel like I was against people who were also beginners.
I don't have that experience at all, and I just got on one like yesterday.
Like, that's the
got 3
only
wins.
explanation that I can give for getting up to 11 wins on his account was because I felt like they were matchmaking me with also new players as well.
See, I disagree with that.
Because I have never gotten that high since, only on his account. The highest I've gotten on mine is 7, so I was like, this must be because they're matchmaking me against new players as well.
I don't know about that one, Eve, because I just got
Maybe I'll have to
wins,
look it up and
I had a
see
really
what their
good deck on
matchmaking is
EU.
like.
The matchmaking is however many wins and losses you have. So,
but there might be more subtle undertones to that as well. If you're
whatever the matchmaking is,
well, you would think the first time you would go in there, they would match you that way.
Whatever the matchmaking is, he should definitely play it. He should definitely play what he wants to, and definitely have fun. Keep him having fun, and ask him how he's having fun, and encourage him back to that. And keep doing that.
Asking more questions for them to get answers from you is better than telling them what to do at this stage.
Yep. It's great.
I know that from my brother. He was like, I just want to play Hunter. And I was like, why don't you try this deck list? It's really cheap. And he's like, okay, but I really like this card, so I'm going to put that in there. And so it's like, okay, well, that doesn't make the deck the best,
no backseat driving.
I'm going to help you by putting that card in there and showing you that it doesn't fit with this type of deck. But
you really need to let them also do things their own way to start out with. Mm-hmm. And then if they come to you and say, hey, can you help me make a better deck? Can you help me learn how to make a better deck? And that's one thing. Yeah. But sometimes, the best way to learn is to make your own mistakes, to do things your own way.
And then I'll give you one other resource to close out this email is Icy Veins. Icy Veins has an unbelievable community presence within every game that is Blizzard. And I just found out that Garrett from the Angry Chicken didn't even know Icy Veins did stuff on Hearthstone. And that's where I learned a lot of stuff before I found out that Trump did videos on it. So Icy Veins was amazing to read up stuff on it. Like, they have super concise statements, like very basic reading, and they give you all the info you need and a couple deck lists that are cards you don't have to craft that you can just go run around with and have fun.
There's Hearthhead, there's Hearthpwn, there's Tempo Storm, there's just so much stuff out there.
Lots of ways to learn.
And Reddit.
Yeah, definitely. Read as much as you can, research as much as you can. It's a good idea.
And if you don't like reading videos.
I want to give a quick shout out to Tiny Torin, who helped me a lot this week while I was building my Beast deck, mid-range Hunter deck, and playing a lot with me at night. So I just want to say thank you to her. Shout out to Tiny T.
Yeah, T is one of our first listeners, so shout out to her. Big thanks. Andrew, do you have any personal shout outs that you want to do?
I don't have friends, man.
You need to come to the TAC.
I do.
Hangouts.
I really
do.
You would just gain
Wednesdays.
a whole circle of people to talk to and play with.
I'll be there as soon as I possibly can. My nights are just usually full up. But I'll figure it out soon and get over there.
Yeah, they start at 9 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Or 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and they go until midnight or however many hours people want to just quit. But
it's awesome.
So where can people find us, guys? Well, you can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/Velens podcast. No apostrophes, no funky monkeys. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Velens Chosen Podcast. Or you can email us at velenschosenpodcast@gmail.com if you have questions like Jamie, if you have any comments or topic ideas that you want to discuss on the show. Or feedback. We appreciate that. And if you want to find us on iTunes and you're currently a listener, if you could just leave us a quick review, that would be awesome. It super helps us, especially early on, to get on that noticed feed in the first 6 weeks of us. As well, if you give us a 5-star review, I haven't seen one yet, so if we get one, we'll read it on the show and we'll thank you publicly and all that jazz.
We'll keep an eye.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye out. Andrew, where can people find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter, Andrew is Living, or find me on YouTube under BinacaFreak. Find some arena videos on there. Even though I am on the struggle bus on arena right now, I can't bust out of 3 wins. I don't know what's going on, but that's my big area where I got to get better right now. So, yeah, that's me.
Eve, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter, FHINNOVARR. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to have to change that soon. And on Facebook, you can contact us at Velen's Chosen at Facebook.
Valen's Chosen Podcast, yep.
Valen's Chosen Podcast.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter and WeChat under the ID NotRob. And then you can find me on Facebook at NotRobMedia. That's my photography page. If you want to get bookings in Chicago, Indianapolis, Detroit, Dayton, Louisville, somewhere around those main city hubs, you can shoot me a line. And then service. You can... I'm on Snapchat. I don't use it a whole bunch. And then I actually run another podcast with 3 of my other friends. Totally random topics. We do a big comedy podcast. It was a blast last night. We talked about Amazon reviews for really funny products. We talked about all kinds of ridiculous things. And we talked about the new Pokemon game that's coming in 2016. We talked about some just silly things. And then you can find that is called The Maze, M-A-Y-Z. You just search M-A-Y-Z in iTunes or Twitter, you'll find us. Until next week, remember that not all who are on the ladder and wandering around, they're not lost, and neither are we. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Take this time to consider your past deeds.
Stop asking questions. You had your chance. Did I miss it?